Hey everyone, welcome back to another Diablo movie review. And today we're going to be talking about The Death of Robin Hood, directed by Michael Sarnowski. This stars Hugh Jackman, Bill Skarsgård, and Jodie Comer, and it's about the kind of misunderstanding of the legend of Robin Hood. Obviously, we all know, Robin Hood or have an image of Robin Hood from the Disney movies, Ridley Scott movies, and the 20 other films and stories that we've grown up with, and we have this image and idea of Robin Hood who steals from the rich to give to the homeless or to the poor. A real hero of the people, and the death of Robin Hood deals a lot more with the consequences of mythos and how stories and these myths kind of create these ideas that aren't necessarily true all the time. We kind of build up certain characters, people in our society. We craft this whole mythos around them, which isn't always the truth. So this film really deals with that falling out, and Hugh Jackman as Robin Hood does an absolute, amazing job in his performance as Robin. Um, Bill Skarsgård being Little John. It took me a second to even realize it was Bill Skarsgård. I actually did not know he was in the film, and I was watching him, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy looks so familiar." And it finally dawned on me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Bill Skarsgård." Um, and Jodie Comer as Sister Brigid. She did a fantastic job. I think Jodie Comer is an amazing actress and maybe underrated. I feel like she will most definitely win an Oscar at some point in the future, um, if she just keeps picking projects like these. Um, but the film itself is beautifully shot, lots of natural scenery. I think when you have these A24 marked films, you kind of have an expectation of what the film is going to look like. But the scenery, of this English countryside, the mountains, the ocean, everything felt very natural. Natural lighting, which is so hard to get in movies nowadays. It's just beautiful. So visually, the movie looks stunning. I will say some issues I think the general audience would have, and I don't think this is a film for really most casual viewers. Um, they're speaking in 12th century English, so it can be hard to understand, especially I would say in Bill Skarsgård's case, his Little John is, in my opinion, very difficult to understand. He has quite a thick accent that he's putting on, which makes it very difficult for me to make out what he's saying at times. But I think he still gave a great performance. Um, and I think the story of diving into Robin Hood and his merry band of thieves, and that really they're just murderers. And maybe I should say spoilers here. But the fact that these mythos and stories which exist in this world, people are spreading these stories, the ones that we know of how he, Mary, his lover Mary, and how he stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and all these things that we know, from the stories we have seen, but it's all made up, Uh, Robin and Lil Jon and all their group were just simply murderers and taking and robbing folks, like just your average folks. But they would spread stories, and at a certain point it became hard to, especially with Lil Jon, it was hard to differentiate what was true, what was false, and even Robin at times was would be like, this person wasn't real, but it actually was. He was even having a hard time differentiating between the stories and what actually happened. But Robin carries a lot of weight of the evil and sins he's done, and in a lot of ways he wants to die. His body kind of fights him on wanting to die. Like he kind of, like, his body kind of refuses to die even though he wants to. Um, but it really is a beautiful, beautiful. It might be, some people might say it's a little boring, but it is a beautiful story of kind of confronting your demons, kind of accepting what you've done, not even forgiveness, because there in a lot of ways you're past forgiveness, but um, kind of accepting the actions you've done and be a better person starting like now. You can't change like he can't change what he's done, right? You can't take back the lives he's taken. But there are people, now, a little girl, spoilers, in his life who count on him, who depend on him, and now there's other folks, in this monastery who count on him and depend on him, and that he grows to appreciate and want to protect and provide for, and to do that, he can't deny who he is. He can't deny his past, but he also can move forward, um, and be a better person for that. Um, and also, I think it, like mentioned previously, kind of the story kind of deals with these mythos we put on people, where even in our society we put whether athletes, celebrities, politicians, whatever, on pedestals, right? And we create these mythos. Jordan has a mythos, Brady has a mythos. Um, like actors, certain actors have mythos. Tom Cruise or even Heath Ledger have a mythos. They have stories built around them, whether some are true or some are not. After time, they get muddled together. Um, and we kind of need to be careful of like how we uh, tell these stories of people and how we view them, because it's so easy to get lost in stories and not actually address and know the person for who they really are, um, or not call them out for a lot of the wrong things they do. You know, in the case of Robin Hood, so I think there is an element of how putting any person on like a pedestal, or any yeah, any person on a pedestal can be a dangerous thing. Um, so I think there's like a couple elements to this Robin story in the film. But yeah, I think in the end this story was entertaining. I think it was a bit slow. I think there was also a lot of suppression of expectations. Like there, for again spoiler sake, there is no like final battle. I thought there'd be like kind of a climatic confrontation, and there really wasn't. It was very much a slow burn, uh, character analysis of Robin, and that might not be to everyone's likings. Again, some people will say this is maybe a boring film, which is totally understandable, and I get, but certainly something that if you are an A24 fan and you are a fan of like these kinds of films, like definitely worth a watch, to check out. So I would give the film a 3.5 out of 5. But yeah, if you've seen the movie, let me know what you think. If you plan on watching it, let me know what you think afterwards. But yeah, this has been another Diablo movie review, and I'll catch you guys later.